As I think all of you know, wildfire season is right around the corner. And our particularly wet winter gave us some of the most beautiful greenery, certainly, throughout the county. But unfortunately, as you know, as we head into fall, that greenery is quickly turning brown and become fuel during what could become a dire wildfire season. It's why we're training today. And our firefighters and police officers are holding their annual exercise over the course of 3 days to make sure that we are prepared and that we are ready if disaster strikes. But this year is a little different. This year we're adding an element that is going to make our city safer, thanks to a new partnership with General Atomics. The San Diego Fire Rescue Department will be the first fire department in the nation to have access to cutting-edge technology that will revolutionize the way that we combat wildfires. And using General Atomics aircraft equipped with high-tech sensors, our fire personnel are going to get the most advanced real-time data any fire department in the world could hope for. And though the planes will be piloted and have fire personnel riding along, the sensors can see what the naked eye can't. And they'll look through smoke, look through clouds, look through darkness to see exactly where hot spots flare up. And they can tell command staff exactly where and how fast the perimeter of a fire is changing. And they can see if any firefighters on the ground are in danger. So General Atomics has been using this technology overseas for years, and now San Diego gets to be the first city to use it in this new capacity. And the best part is that it comes at no cost to taxpayers. And so during this, what we're calling a proof of concept phase, we'll be working alongside General Atomics as they further develop this technology. And our fire department and our expert firefighters are going to be able to provide feedback about how this tech can be used effectively in the field. And we will get the first opportunity to use it if and when wildfires strike. In talking with the chief, I can tell you this has all the hallmarks and the ability to be a true game changer. And by using what is proven technology in a new, innovative way, firefighters are going to be able to protect our neighborhoods and, most importantly, save lives. And that's what this is all about. And so we may be the first city to benefit from this partnership, but I am confident that this solution can be used as a model for other departments throughout the nation. And once again, I want to thank General Atomics for their partnership. And I want to thank all of our first responders and all the training that is going to be happening today and in the coming weeks as we ramp up to keep our city safe. And now it's my pleasure to turn it over to our fire chief, Chief Brian Fennessy. Chief?
Thanks, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Faulkner. I appreciate this opportunity to speak to a couple things. We're here not only to talk about the new technology, but to really focus and highlight the interaction, the training between our fire rescue department and the police department. Downstairs, both departments are working closely together in planning for what we call the Santa Ana wind part of the fire season. We do this every year. We exercise unified command, we exercise the technology, we meet, we talk, we plan. We learned this after the 2003 and 2007 fires. One of the unique things we're doing today is also exercising the evacuation process. We tend to, on the fire side, determine what areas of the city need to be evacuated. The police department does the evacuations for us. So much of what we're doing down below is really simulating a large wildland fire that's not going to get any better. A couple areas of the city, one area down in Mission Valley where it's primarily us, and then another simulation up in San Pasqual Valley where we're involving multiple agencies. So these are very complex simulations that both the police officers and the firefighters work together on, for that eventuality of that fire. 2003 and 2007 were not an anomaly. We had our last anomaly in 2014. These fires are a way of the future. We live within the fire environment, and the mayor's heard me say this many times before. There is no greater threat to life and property in this city than wildland fire. When the weather lines up and the winds are blowing and humidities are low and temperatures are up and we get a start, we're going to have a fire. What I'm really excited about is the partnership with General Atomics. When we do have a large fire, the area is smoky, the fires are moving quickly. The question I probably get the most is, where's the fire now? And that's very difficult to ascertain. Some of that in the past has been, by radio, by phone, talking to my firefighters out on the line. Where is the fire now? Is it in the neighborhoods? Are we losing structures? This partnership with General Atomics is going to be able to provide that information to all of us real time. I'm not talking 2 minutes later or 5 minutes later or even hours later like some of the other platforms that are out there, because that information isn't any good to me. We need to know real time where that fire is, what's going on the ground. We're talking about, through this proof of concept, even tracking our firefighters. Where are firefighters on the ground? Where are they laying hose? Are they in danger? If they are, can we get help to them? So we're excited about this proof of concept. Appreciate the partnership and working with the General Atomics team. I think we've only scratched the surface. This very likely could be a capability that expands well beyond the city of San Diego, but we're doing something very different here, and I appreciate it. I do believe that lives and property will be saved in the future because of this technology, so thank you very much. It's my pleasure to introduce my partner in public safety, Police Chief Shelley Zimmerman.
Thank you, Chief Fennessy. Thank you, Mayor Faulkner, and CEO Lyndon Blue from General Atomics. And I'll tell you, at the San Diego Police Department, and you just heard from Chief Fennessy from our San Diego Fire Department, is that City of San Diego, our entire San Diego region, is all about collaboration and cooperation. All of us working together to make sure that we can have best practices to keep all of our neighborhoods safe. So what we talk about today, this exercise, which Chief Fennessy talked about, we do every single year in anticipation of the upcoming Santa Ana winds and the fire season, is that this time, this training right here is a game changer because of General Atomics, we're going to be able to leverage technology, this groundbreaking leverage technology to keep all of our communities safer. And that's what this is all about. So we appreciate everything that all of our community does to, we talk about if you see something to say something, but also for Alert San Diego and to be involved and everybody have that information. But now, in real time, we're going to be able to make sure that if we need to do evacuations, that we can do it so much more efficient, so much more effective, but also to minimize any property damage that may happen because of a fire. And this is truly a true partnership with all of us working together. So thank you to General Atomics, and it's now my pleasure to introduce Lyndon Blue, the CEO of General Atomics.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much to the fire chief, the police chief, Mayor Faulkner. First of all, I would like to thank my people and also the firefighters who worked together to make this happen, because this is a result of human initiative, and it's not an automatic result of any kind of higher direction. What we're trying to do here, what we're showing here is what happens when you can combine airborne persistence and sensor technology, modern sensor technology. And that's something that has been learned in the unmanned aircraft business over the last 15 years or so. But now we're applying it to this very civil problem, which is the wildfire problem in the county here. When you have this combination of airborne persistence and modern sensor technology, infrared optical radar, you can detect fires in a much more efficient way than before, and you can help the people on the ground who are risking their lives trying to contain those fires. You can also provide, because of your airborne persistence, you can provide a communications node in the air so that those people on the ground can always be in communication with the air and with each other. So we're very excited to be part of this. This is bringing a national capability to the county, and I'm very much looking forward to the results here, and I'm very honored to be in this company and to be able to speak to you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief, anything else you want to cover? Or
You know what?
any questions, guys? Go ahead.
Explain what the technology is?
Yes, we will be flying our manned testbed aircraft. These are turboprops which we use to test and develop sensor payloads. And we do that because today in the national airspace, having medium altitude, long endurance aircraft is not quite reality yet. In the 5 to 10 year future, industry is working with the FAA to make even longer endurance possible. We can stay up with these sensors now for maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, and that's very important and it's very new. I think it's a quantum change. Ultimately, you want to stay up there for 40 hours, which an unmanned aircraft can do, but bringing those aircraft into the civilian airspace is a project that's going on with the FAA that will take another couple of years. The sensor payloads that we're talking about are, on the one hand, video payloads that are based on optical wavelength that you can see with your eyes, then different infrared wavelengths, which you can't see with your eyes, but they can see through smoke pretty well and see in the dark. And you also have ground imaging radar capability, which can see through also pretty much anything and give you a cross-reference for what you're seeing on infrared. And the third thing, as I mentioned, which is important, is we're going to have a firefighter radio. We already have that on the aircraft, but we want to, in the coming months, be able to be an airborne relay. So no one on the ground would be isolated from other firefighters due to terrain, because you would use this persistent airborne presence as a relay for to let the guys and the gals on the ground speak with each other, no matter in which canyon or crevice they might be located.
Any other questions, guy? Chief, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I would. One of the exciting things is we've had several meetings and conversations with the General Atomics team is fire predictive modeling, simulating where that fire is going to be. So like I spoke to, it's great to know where the fire is. Of course, we want to know where we believe the fire is going to go. Last week, we introduced members of the UCSD team up in La Jolla, staff that are working actively using the supercomputers to model where fire is going to go based on real-time topography, humidity, temperature, all the various factors, so that not only in the future we'll be able to predict or see where the fire actually is, but where we believe, based on this real-time modeling, where it's going to go, which allows us then to move resources into those neighborhoods, into those positions where the fire is going to hit first. We often say that we live in the cul-de-sac of the state, when our experience has been, and it will be again, that when the Santa Ana winds surface, they surface up north first. When there's fires, they occur up north. The mutual aid system, which is the best in the world, supports those new fires. So when we have our fire, we don't have the resources available that they do up north. We're not getting any help out of the west. We're not getting any help out of the south. Very little comes out of the east. It's all got to come from the north. And if they're already tied up on fires, we've got what we've got for the first 48, 72 hours. So to have the ability to know where the fire is, where the fire may be going, is a huge benefit to the firefighters. From a practical perspective, moving forward, the things we're talking about are, when weather is forecasted, and we know now 5 or 6 days ahead of time when the models are lining up for us to have significant fire weather, actually having staff available for the platform that we can very quickly put on board the aircraft and get up in the air. Possibly even when the weather does start to occur, have it in the air already, so that when a fire does break, we're able to look down, we're able to see where it is, where it's going, and those sorts of things. So as the mayor said, very much proof of concept right now. We believe we've only scratched the surface. There's a lot more to come. Thank you.
Any other questions, guys? If not, all of us here will be available for any one-on-one. Sasha? Yes?
Proof of concept, a fancy sort of term for trial.
Yeah.
And how long is the trial going to last? What are the metrics for the trial? And who's paying for this?
No, great question.
Great question. Yes, very much is a trial. And as I've said, I think we've only scratched the surface. The more we learn about the capabilities that the aircraft provides, the more the wheels start to turn and we start to think about how that might be applicable, even outside the wildland fire perspective. I mean, the technology has been used during flood conditions. I mean, we're really talking about all hazards, whether it be civil unrest, whether it be mudslides. I mean, the aircraft can be in the air. It's all weather. They can see through clouds, see through smoke. The ability to look even beyond wildland fire causes a lot of different other conversations. So yeah, it really is a trial. You know, if you asked me a week from now, I'd probably share with you more of what we think is going to be possible. So this is really the very early stage.
So is General Atomics footing the cost of this, or who's paying for this?
Yes,
How much is that?
I don't know.
And how long is it, a year, 2 years?
You know, we're working together. You know, we haven't put a time limit on it. Like I say, we've just started meeting over the last, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 weeks, and we're meeting regularly. And when I say regularly, almost daily. Many of my team are spending a lot of time in the aircraft working with General Atomics on the what's next. So I'm getting daily updates. There is no, we haven't forecasted an end date. I mean, I can really see that, you know, we will be using this when the winds blow. But again, it may be the tail end of proof of concept, but we will still be learning what we can and can't do, you know, with this technology. We don't see an end in sight right now.
Chief, these are all manned, the drones?
All manned.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Chief?
It's been said that wisdom is the proper application of knowledge, and knowledge basically is information, and what we're supplying is information to the firefighter and the police department, things that are happening on the ground. We're providing that by way of sensor packages that are at least a decade old, and these sensor packages have been used to protect the warfighter for a long time. It's all about how quickly can you detect change, how quickly can we map out the perimeter of a fire, which way is that fire going, providing that kind of information. And on top of that, being able to provide a communications platform that allows geographically separated teams to continue to communicate with each other undisturbed, so that nobody is separated, nobody is in danger. The goal is to be able to to spot a fire faster, to put it out faster, to help the firefighter be more effective because he's got the best information and the best absolute situational awareness available today. And again, I'm really excited to say that San Diego is the first to do that. We're also excited about our collaboration with UCSD. We're providing them information also. That information will be fed into their supercomputers to do increased analytics that they're already doing, but we're giving them more information so they can provide a more detailed analysis of where a fire is going, what fuel is available, what winds are happening. As you know, fires create their own weather, and they're able to predict that as a result of the information we give them. These storyboards to the side here reflect, the first storyboard I'll point your attention to is the 2017 UAS Surrogate aircraft. On board that aircraft with us today is Chief Heiser and a mission commander. We always envision a collaboration between General Atomics and the fire department together because we don't speak fire, we speak our speak, which is technology, and so we translate that to the chief, and the chief translates that, or the fire liaison on board the aircraft translates that to his guys on the ground so that they can make the appropriate actions. On board the aircraft also is a synthetic aperture radar, which is a fancy name for a radar that allows us to look through dense cloud, look through smoke, gather information in the dark that isn't currently available. We're able to get real-time information about what has changed after a fire, after water's been dropped. After an hour, we'll fly over a site again. We'll be able to tell how much the fire has moved in which direction, or if a flood has occurred, where the water's going, or in the event of civil unrest, where people are moving, that sort of thing, where other pockets are popping up, and we'll show that in more detail in a minute. We're also on board is a VHF, UHF radio relay that allows us to allow firefighters or police that are separated geographically to communicate with each other. And one more thing that we're quite proud of adding, and that is commercial cellular. We have commercial cellular on board, so in the event of a Katrina-like event, we can fly commercial cellular in cooperation with local operators so that we can have cellular communications available to firefighters for broadband communications or for civilian aid organizations that are looking for people that may be trapped and need help. So we can provide that kind of service real time. That's why having a UAV UAS in the air persistently over, beyond the 4 to 6 hours that we can do with manned flight is so important because we can stay over a disaster longer, providing that communications longer. We can orbit it out, bring in another one as needed, but pardon me, it's a lot easier on resources and air crews. So that's the next slide over. The slide to the right of that is a slide that represents an infrared view of the Blue Cut fire from a little while ago. And then our ultimate goal is to have the entire platform placed on a UAS. I want to introduce Chief McFarland over here on my left. He's in real-time communications with the aircraft, and he has control, so he can actually, if you wouldn't mind, ask the aircraft to turn the camera.
Aircat 6 lead, go ahead and slew the camera and zoom in.
So he's just asked them to slew the camera and zoom in. You can see the diagram over here to the left on the TV screen is an actual view of the aircraft, where it is, etc. They just slewed the camera and they're zooming in. See our airport. Okay. The TV screen now is showing a few different things to us. The TV screen is showing us those yellow triangles are actual ships on the water that are sending out beacons so that we can see where they are. You can see the yellow diagram is the field of regard or the field of view for the radar. If you wouldn't mind showing those tiles over to the right-hand side of the TV screen are actually SAR images, synthetic aperture radar images. We can take those images and put them together in what we call a brick map, basically combining them together, and that shows us a very detailed image. Go ahead and click down on that. So a very detailed image of what's underneath, cloud, smoke, etc. Can you pull up the PowerPoint? Real quick, I just want to show you a real quick PowerPoint image, and then I'll stop, and then we can take questions real time. So this is a real fire line. The Flight 1 was a flight that we took over that showed where a fire was. We had a fire line that we had drawn. Flight 2 was an hour later. Flight 2, based on our ability to do change detection, allowed us to show how much the fire had moved in 1 hour. Next slide. I'm going to skip this one, but you can see the fire line that we were able to draw at night because we could actually see where the hot spots were. The technology we have on board the aircraft allows us to determine the difference between a hot spot, which is a fire, a hot rock, and other things that might be in the environment that are, pardon me, that would normally skew our understanding. Next slide. So this is the SAR image of that same fire line. Now, we're calling it a probable fire line because in a SAR image, we can't give it as precisely as a visual. Now, the next slide will show three different things. The probable fire line, which I just showed you, the visible change, so the red is what was there, the blue is new. It's the new fire line. And then on the far left side are the things, the red things are things that were there before, and they're not there now, which means that fire is gone. It's out. The blue stuff is new fire. Okay, so that's the kind of technology we have in the airplane. That's the kind of information that we're able to give to the firefighters. Let me leave it to you. Any questions? Okay, thanks for your time.